Hello, my name is Chris Livesey, and in this learning module, we will review the steps necessary to lead effective and productive meetings. By the end of this training module, you should be able to describe the importance and requirements for a productive meeting, determine when to utilize each type of meeting, face-to-face versus conference call, explain the different technologies that can be used and the benefits, be able to create an agenda, plan, and conduct a meeting. There are 6 principles to successful meetings. The first principle is purpose. Each meeting should have a clear purpose. A meeting should have an objective and a reason why you're having it. What is the result you wish to achieve from the meeting? Second, time. The question here is how long should the meeting be? Every situation is different, so there's no single set time that works for all meetings. The rule of thumb is, the shorter, the better. Schedules need to be concise, and by scheduling less time, this will force members of the meeting to use time more wisely. Agenda. This is an outline for meeting participants to follow during the meeting. Agendas help to keep meetings aligned with respect to time. Preparation. This is vital to effective meetings. Prior to the meeting, everyone who is presenting needs to prepare their speaking points and questions. Focus. Focused meetings stay true to their purpose or topic of discussion. Participants need to stay engaged by listening and paying attention. And lastly, leadership. The leader of the meeting is the person in charge. It's their job to be sure that the other 5 principles are followed, such as keeping the meeting on target, beginning and ending on time, keeping the meeting on agenda, and also to help everyone prepare for the meeting and ensuring that focus is maintained throughout the meeting. There are several different types of meetings. They all have advantages and disadvantages depending upon the circumstances and the amount of people attending, and also where they're located. One-on-one meetings are best for handling details of day-to-day work, such as quick questions. If there are multiple issues to discuss with an individual, this type of meeting makes the most sense. Conference calls bring multiple people together in an audio form. They work best when there are 3 or more people that are in different locations. Group meetings are best for company-wide or group-wide development, collaboration, and coordination. They're very effective for brainstorming with many people in a focused setting. They're also effective in coordinating the calendars with many different people in a department or a project. In some instances, particularly in small groups, a webcam can be used, and this can be seen in the picture on the left. It can also mean hosting a meeting over the telephone or conference bridge, or using a net or GoToMeeting. Meetings can be set up as one-time or regularly scheduled reoccurring events. Further into the training, we will review additional details relating to some of the more popular types of meetings. Technology is used to conduct or enhance meetings in virtually all circumstances, whether it be to use a conference call or a laptop and an LCD projector. Virtual audience is the act of using technology to attend a meeting without physically being in the room. The advantage of video is that it allows you to see facial expressions and body language. It's most effective with 8 or less people. The disadvantages are that a large group can be distracting, and adding multiple cameras can run the risk of having technical difficulties. In addition to the telephone, there are many different tools that can be used to display and enhance the meeting experience. Displayed in the pictures is the latest technology called telepresence, which utilizes cameras and monitors, allowing multiple people situated in different locations to interact as though they are in the same room. Telephone conference calls are probably the most popular. I use mine multiple times a day at work. There are many options from conference call providers. Mine allows the leaders to see all of the attendees, who is speaking. I can segregate participants in a waiting room. I can place a call in listen-only mode. I can allow participants to raise their hand if they'd like to speak, or I can even drop a line with static if it's disrupting the call. In a virtual setting, it's imperative that the leader makes sure that everyone has a voice. They need to be aware of all attendees, and if someone's been quiet, go around the circle at the end to see if anyone has any questions or input before concluding. This is a good way to ensure that everyone gets a chance to speak. If I'm reviewing a document while on a telephone conference call, I utilize the Net Meeting feature. This allows others to follow my desktop and to review a document or spreadsheet. One-to-one meetings are more personal and used when there's an important point or topic to discuss. Face-to-face meetings make better impressions and are generally easier to come to an agreement. They can be used for one-time quick questions or regularly scheduled reoccurring calls. These can be meetings between members within a company or separate companies. Group meetings are important when working on a project or input from many people are required to make decisions and achieve a goal. Group meetings foster collaboration and coordination with many people in a focused setting. These can also be held internally or externally with a mix of participants from each. An important aspect of planning a meeting is to compile an agenda. This is an outline that is drafted by the meeting leader and distributed to the attendees along with the meeting invite or prior to the meeting. In many cases, the participants have issues they would like to bring to the table, and this is the time to obtain all of that information up front, draft it, and share it with all of the attendees prior to the meeting. When scheduling the meeting, there are several important items that must be addressed, such as frequency. How often and how long should the meeting be? Sometimes with reoccurring calls, if you're meeting once a week, shorter meetings are better, say a half an hour or so. If you're only meeting once a month, sometimes it makes more sense to spend more time and have an hour call. Of course, it depends on how many participants you have and what the agenda is and so forth. Rhythm is the optimization of time, placing the meeting at the right time of day and for people in different time zones. For example, in my job, I deal with people all across the world. So there are times when I have to schedule calls later in the day to accommodate people, and sometimes real early in the morning to accommodate different time zones. And there are sometimes other challenges when I have to schedule calls with Europe and include folks from the United States in the Pacific time zone or other time zones. The next category is technology. I use Outlook to schedule meetings, as you can see from the screenshot. It allows me to see others' schedules and determine what time frame would work best for all attendees in the meeting. The more attendees you have, the tougher it gets to finding a time that works well for all. I can also set the meeting to be reoccurring at a set interval, such as every day, every week, every month, etc. Reminders also have another feature in Outlook. By default, the automatic reminder for the leader and the participants. They receive a pop-up every 15 minutes before the meeting. I would certainly miss a lot of calls if it weren't for this feature. It is very important that the leader is prepared for the meeting. In some instances, conference rooms need to be reserved ahead of time. Or, if travel is involved, attendees will need sufficient time to make travel arrangements. If handouts are required, be sure to print enough, and actually a few extra copies. Do they need to be in color? Do you have past action items that need to be reviewed? Has the proper research been done, and are all the questions answered? How long is the meeting? Do you need to order lunch? Do this ahead of time. Some of the longer meetings I've been to have also provided refreshments and snacks. Be sure to bring a notepad and a few extra pens to take minutes and action items. Here are some general ground rules that everyone should follow in a meeting. It's important to silence cell phones to eliminate unnecessary distractions. No multitasking during meetings. At some meetings, I've actually had to ask people to close their laptops. It's important for everyone at the meeting to start on time, allot appropriate breaks, and end on time. It's important for the leader to take the initiative with the items listed. Review the equipment and technology that will be used in the meeting to ensure it's properly tested and working before you have a room full of participants that are watching you troubleshoot a projector. Technology should be a helpful resource and not an aggravating frustration. Be sure to utilize the tools to make your meeting more effective. Start the meeting on time, 5 minutes late at the most. Anyone that comes after that can be filled in on what they've missed. Keep an eye on the clock, especially if you have multiple people speaking to various topics. If someone goes over their allotted time on the agenda, it will need to be absorbed somewhere else. Be sure someone has been designated to take the minutes and action items other than the leader, as this can be a distraction. When presenting, it's important to speak clearly and make eye contact with individuals throughout the meeting. Allow participants time to ask questions and resolve issues. Listen carefully to what is said and be sure all questions and actions are being documented. In closing, be sure to go around and ask everyone if they have any additional questions. Review the after-meeting plan of drafting up the minutes and action items and let the team know when they can expect to see it. If there are future meetings scheduled, review the dates and times and be sure everyone is in concurrence. And now for the questions. What are the 6 principles of successful meetings? Second question. What are the benefits to a webcam or telepresence? And third question, what responsibilities does a leader have in a meeting? And here are the references. I look forward to your feedback. Thank you for watching.